She was born unwanted, became unforgettable, and took on the entire Hollywood system before a tragic, mysterious end. Welcome to Learning English with Rassa. Today we're looking beyond the cameras to find the brilliant, complex reality of a true American icon. The girl who would eventually become a global icon actually began her turbulent life in Los Angeles as Norma Jeane Mortensen. Her childhood was honestly marked by severe instability and a desperate search for safety. We're talking about a girl who endured living in as many as 12 different foster homes and an orphanage. Meanwhile, her mother battled severe mental illness that eventually led to institutionalization. This early lack of a stable, loving foundation left deep emotional scars she'd carry privately for the rest of her life. But her path to unimaginable fame began quite unexpectedly in 1944. She was just spraying fire retardant and assembling drone parts at a military munitions factory when an Army photographer named David Conover spotted her. He was absolutely stunned by the radiant 19-year-old. He instantly recognized her magnetic, almost magical relationship with the camera. The lens literally loved her, and for the very first time, she found a space where she felt truly seen. It didn't take long for Hollywood to take notice of this incredible presence. The major film studios rapidly signed her to contracts and changed her name to Marilyn Monroe. However, they really only sought to exploit her as a highly profitable decorative product. To the studio executives of that era, she was merely a saleable asset. They cast her repeatedly in one-dimensional roles that focused entirely on her physical appearance, completely ignoring her actual artistic talent. Yet, she was so much more than a simple studio property. Even when she was forced into playing stereotypical dumb blonde characters, audiences and critics sensed a brilliant, calculating depth beneath the surface. Her ambiguous performances, especially in cinematic masterpieces like All About Eve, made people wonder if she was secretly a genius playing a fool. As she once famously stated, with that signature sharp wit, "I only act dumb because men expect it." Determined to take absolute control of her own destiny, she made a historic and incredibly risky choice. She chose to defy 20th Century Fox, bravely walking out on her restrictive contract and fleeing all the way to New York City. There, she proudly founded her own independent production company, Marilyn Monroe Productions, and began intensely studying method acting at the prestigious Actor Studio to perfect her craft. Her daring move absolutely shocked the established industry. And remarkably, it worked. It forced the powerful studio to eventually surrender. She secured an unprecedented contract that granted her a massive salary increase, the right to work with independent producers, and total approval over her scripts, directors, and even cinematographers. This was a monumental, industry-shaking victory for a female actor in the 1950s. During this era of newfound power, she married the celebrated intellectual playwright Arthur Miller, earnestly seeking personal and intellectual growth. But the exhausting daily effort to maintain her glamorous Hollywood facade began to severely fracture her mental state. Behind closed doors, the immense pressure of fame, combined with chronic insomnia and unresolved childhood trauma, pushed her toward a heavy, dangerous reliance on prescription medications. Modern psychological autopsies conducted by researchers and psychiatrists suggest she was deeply vulnerable, masking profound psychological pain throughout her entire career. Medical experts today believe she battled complex PTSD stemming from her early years, borderline personality disorder, and possibly even masked an autism spectrum disorder. She utilized her famous public persona as a brilliant but ultimately exhausting coping mechanism to navigate a world where she felt fundamentally unsafe. Then, on the night of August 4th, 1962, her sudden death at age 36 from a fatal barbiturate overdose absolutely shocked the globe. This tragic event immediately unleashed decades of dark speculation. Inconsistencies in the official timelines, missing records, and her high-profile connections fueled endless theories involving the mafia, the FBI, and alleged secret affairs with the powerful Kennedy brothers. Yet her story is so much more than a Hollywood tragedy. Her true legacy is not her untimely death, but her triumphant rise. She was a self-educated, brilliant woman who outsmarted an entire male-dominated industry that tried to own her. She broke boundaries for female actors, demanded creative respect, and remains an eternal, endlessly complex icon of strength and survival. Now, to really unpack the myth of Marilyn Monroe, it helps to examine the specific language often used to describe her life. Take our first word, turbulent. It means characterized by conflict, disorder, or confusion. It describes a state that is not controlled or calm, much like rough waters. We can see exactly why this word fits when we look at these sentences. Her turbulent childhood involved moving between 12 foster homes. Later on, the actress had a highly turbulent relationship with the press. But despite the turbulent times, she managed to build her own company. It perfectly captures periods of life where nothing feels secure. But out of that chaos emerged something incredible. This brings us to a perfect word to describe her on-screen presence: radiant. It means sending out light or glowing with joy, hope, or beauty. Radiant carries a specific warmth, implying that the beauty or joy is coming from deep within and projecting outward to affect others. You can see this in how she's remembered. The photographer noticed the radiant girl working on the assembly line. On the movie screen, her radiant smile captured the audience, and she looked truly radiant when she finally won her creative freedom. It isn't just about being pretty. It describes a bright, highly visible energy. Of course, that brightness attracted those who wanted to use it. The word exploit is crucial to understanding her career. This means to make use of a situation or a person in a way that is considered unfair or underhand to achieve your own advantage. It strongly suggests a systematic unfairness for profit. We see this systematically in her career, as the film studios tried to exploit her image for maximum profit. It's a sad reality that unfair contracts often exploit young actors who are desperate for work. But she realized early on that executives would exploit her if she did not fight back. To survive this environment, she had to be adaptable and complex, which leads us to the word ambiguous. This means being open to more than one possible interpretation, or having a double meaning. Ambiguous doesn't just mean confusing, it means there are multiple valid ways to understand something. By being ambiguous, Marilyn offered the public exactly what they wanted to see. Her ambiguous performance made audiences wonder if she was secretly a genius. The ending of the film was intentionally ambiguous to keep people guessing, much like how she often gave ambiguous answers to reporters to protect her privacy. Ultimately, she refused to just be a pawn. The word defy is central to her true legacy. It means to openly resist or refuse to obey rules, expectations, or powerful people, carrying a strong sense of boldness and courage. This bold resistance defined her later years. Marilyn decided to defy the powerful studio executives and start her own company. She had the courage to defy the unfair rules of the Hollywood system, and her incredible success continues to defy all the early critics. Her resistance led to results that were completely unprecedented. This means never done, experienced, or known before. We use unprecedented when something breaks historical patterns completely, establishing a brand new standard. Her industry-shaking victory was exactly that. She secured an unprecedented contract that gave her total creative control. The public reaction to her sudden death was completely unprecedented, and reaching that level of global fame was an unprecedented achievement for a young woman. Yet victory didn't erase the pressure. Let's examine the word facade. A facade describes a deceptive outward appearance that hides a very different reality, sort of like a mask or an illusion. A facade requires immense effort to maintain. Behind her glamorous Hollywood facade, she fought severe mental illness. The cheerful facade she presented to the public hid her deep loneliness, because her dumb blonde character was merely a clever facade for a brilliant businesswoman. Because beneath that mask, she remained deeply vulnerable. This means exposed to the possibility of being attacked or harmed, either physically or emotionally. It suggests a fragility of the mind or heart that desperately needs protection. Despite her immense wealth and fame, her traumatic past left her deeply vulnerable to the pressures of fame. She felt incredibly vulnerable when her private life was exposed to the media, and seeking therapy was a way for her to heal her vulnerable emotional state. When someone so guarded passes away suddenly, it naturally leads to speculation. This is the forming of a theory or a guess about something without having firm, concrete evidence. It happens when facts are missing and the mind fills in the empty spaces. Because the exact details of her final hours remain unclear, her sudden death caused endless speculation about the involvement of politicians. There is still much speculation regarding the true nature of her secret diaries, fueled by newspapers that made millions by publishing speculation about her personal life. Which leaves us to consider her legacy, meaning something handed down from an ancestor, a predecessor, or from the past. It is most often used to describe the lasting historical, cultural, or emotional impact a person leaves behind. We don't just remember her tragic end. Marilyn's true legacy is her intelligence and business power, not just her beauty. She leaves behind a powerful legacy that inspires young actors today because the historical legacy of her production company changed the film industry forever. When we bring all these narrative threads together, the picture becomes clear. We see how a turbulent, highly unstable youth gave rise to a radiant, beautifully glowing star. Yet, the studios continually tried to exploit her for financial gain despite her delivering ambiguous, deeply layered performances that proved her true intelligence. Rather than accept unfair treatment, she chose to defy those powerful expectations. By resisting, she earned an unprecedented, historic contract that gave her total control, allowing her to look past the exhausting Hollywood facade she had been forced to maintain. Ultimately, beneath the fame, she remained highly vulnerable. And while her sudden death continues to invite endless speculation, her powerful legacy as a trailblazing businesswoman remains entirely intact and respected today. This brings us to a fascinating concept that perfectly summarizes Marilyn's public life: smoke and mirrors. This phrase originally referred to 19th century stage magicians who used actual clouds of smoke and hidden mirrors to conceal their hands and create spectacular illusions on stage. Today, it means things intended to deceive or confuse people. In Marilyn's story, her famous dumb blonde persona was pure smoke and mirrors. The public saw a simple, helpless beauty, but that image was a brilliant, deliberate illusion. Behind that distraction of smoke and mirrors was a sharp, self-taught businesswoman who successfully outmaneuvered the most powerful men in Hollywood. We see this concept everywhere in society today. A company's financial success might just be smoke and mirrors, or a politician's confident speech might be all smoke and mirrors to hide their lack of a real plan. It's a great reminder that the outward image we are presented with is rarely the whole truth. So think about it. What part of your own daily life, perhaps at work or on social media, might be a bit of smoke and mirrors? What mask are you wearing? Come share your thoughts with us at Fluent Mind on Telegram. Keep questioning the facade, and we'll see you next time.